Hello brothers and sisters, welcome back to the next video of Ccna 203.01 practice. Today our lecture is really important. Please don't escape this video because it's gonna clear so many doubts of you. When I was a Ccna student, I remember that no one was able to explain me in such a better, which today I'm going to explain for you the concept of internet and how the network, what is network actually, how internet works. LAN 1, they're just explaining you that LAN is local area network or WAN is wide area network, but they're not exactly clearing your doubts that how this internet is working. So today our lecture gonna be a little bit of a story. I'm gonna explain a little bit about the story. So I wish it's not feeling bored for you, and please bear with me. It's really interesting. As I told you before, that our first initial day is going to be a little bit of theoretical subjects, theoretical concepts which are really important. Guys, as you know, we are human beings, and we have inside our body, we have mind, okay? And this mind is the exact place as per biology that we can store the information here in our mind, information, or we can say data. But guys, humans are not capable of storing lot many information in mind. If they can store the retrieving or the searching of information, gonna be very difficult for the human beings to retrieve this information really faster. So in order to store so many information, we need help of other. We are not God, we are just human beings, and we need help of other human beings in order to communicate with them and in order to store more information, more data. So for this purpose, we take help of other humans, okay? Help of our friends, let's say like family, parents, children, brothers, sisters. So we're taking help of them in order to store the information and for ourselves. But as you know, the growing of the technology day by day, it's really difficult, really tough to store all the information in the human body. Let's say there's so many information nowadays in the world, and we cannot store it. We cannot store all the information inside the human mind. So we need for a technical device, or we need for a physical device in order to store the data there, and we just use them and we just take the benefit of those information, and we should not worry about how to store all those data. So for this purpose, we know if one of you have information about electronics and all, we have devices, maybe I think transistors, if I'm not wrong, transistors, which would take off the transistors, which we can create flip-flops with help of all these electronical devices. And the flip-flops are capable of storing bits of information, okay? So now human life became easy when they found the flip-flops in order to store the information. But the thing here is that flip-flops or maybe the electronic devices or transistors are not capable of storing a lot of information. They can store not more than I'm talking about the initial. There's not more than 1 KB or 2 KB. It's really large enough, even this much also. So for this, they have combined electronic engineers. What they have done, they have combined so many transistors, combined electronical pieces, we can say electronical pieces, in order to create large capacity memory cards, or memory cards, if you can say memory cards. They have combined so many electronic devices and make a large capacity memory cards in order to store the data. For example, they have started from 1 gig, for example 1 GB, then it went up to 100 GB, let's say, then it did 1 to TB, then large enough. So more and more. So now we can say that by combination of all these small pieces of electronical devices, they have created actually electronic engineers. They have created large capacity memory cards, 1 GB, 2 GB, 10 GB, 1 TB, 2 TB. Now we have really big data centers. Most of you may wonder what's the data center. It's nothing but you have a CPU in your room, which is maybe a low configuration CPU. So you're just using it for your maybe for your doing your practices and assignments, or maybe for doing your gamings. But the data center is not this CPU. The data center is a CPU which have large, or maybe I can say high configuration high configuration CPU. The data center is nothing but just high configuration CPU. Means it has really highest computing devices like memory card, or we can say hard disk, and so many other devices. So now we have this, from these small pieces of electronic devices, we created large big data centers which we can store more than expected value. You will not expect how much data is now stored in the Google data center and Facebook data center. For example, every day you're going live and your data, or every day you're posting something new in your Facebook, and your data is still there in their data center, even if you search for your data after 7 years or maybe 8 years, whatever. So they have recorded, or they have stored the information. Now, so I hope this much was clear for you. Now the thing is, now we have, suppose this data center, and this data is related to, for example, some person named X. The person named X has his own data center, and the person with the name Y has its own data center. And X is storing his data inside this data center A, and Y is storing his data inside data center B, let's say. Now the humans are not like they can live independently in the world. They really need for helps of other. They have, for example, this X sees that Y has some data which is really useful for me, and Y says that I have some data which is really useful for X, or some data from X is really useful for me. So now we'll consider the same scenario for entire the world. For entire the world, meaning that there are so many there's so many population in this world which have some data with their self, so they want to share their data with their friends. For example, you're living your friend is living in US, and you're living, for example, in India. So there's some data between you guys that you want to share it between yourself. So there should be a concept, there should be some procedure, there should be something in order to share your data, your pictures, your memories, childhood memories with your friend who is living in US. So for this purpose, what they have done, they have made a protocol. They have made a protocol. Protocol means they have made a rule. Protocol is nothing but a rule. They have made a rule. X and Y say that X said to Y that hey Y, I just want to share my data with you, but in order to share data with you, we should have some agreement with each other, obviously. So without an agreement, we cannot share the data. We should have some agreement between each other. There should be a guideline, there should be a protocol in order to exchange our data between each other. So for this purpose, for creating the agreement in order to easily share the data between two computing devices. This two computing device, which we can some people are calling computer also. I'm usually calling it computing device. So as a technical term. So these two computing devices made an agreement between each other. The name of agreement was protocol. The agreement is usually called technically protocol, and the name of agreement was IP, or Internet Protocol. Protocol. So this Internet Protocol, what this is the guidelines, or we can say the procedure, or we can say the method that in order, or the rules in order to exchange data between two computing devices. So until this agreement is not established between X and Y, so we cannot exchange our data. So internet protocol must be exist between two computing devices in order to exchange information. I hope this much was clear for you guys, that for example, I want to share data with you. So before sharing data with you, I have to establish a protocol. I should tell to you that I will share data for you, but you should not delete my data, let's say. These are some rules. We are just orally explaining. But the internet protocol has its own rules that are technically we will discuss in the future lectures. But what are the details of this protocol, what we are signing under it, so that will be explained later on. For example, routing protocols, so many other protocols that exist. So we are explaining the details of this protocol, but the headline for this exchanging of two information between two computing devices, a protocol. Okay, this much was clear for you guys. Now, this X wants to store the data in his computing device. But let's say this X is not a technical person. He's not an electronic engineer. This X is he's a businessman or a BBA student. Okay, he's a businessman, and why is not some technical engineer? Or he's just maybe a teacher, a school teacher, and he doesn't and he has so much information. He or she has so much information, but he don't know how to create his own data center in order to what? In order to store his information. So as a human being, we cannot be jack of all. I'm a student, you're a student, or someone is an engineer, someone is a doctor, someone is an electronic engineer, obviously. So, but everyone has information, has their own information. So what we can do is, we have, this is our world, and in this world so many people are living, but we take help of everyone. For example, the first help is coming from electric engineers. There are so many companies or big data centers that they are storing information for us. They have their electronic engineers, they have their staff, their devices, physical devices. They're just creating everything for us ready-made, and we are just paying for that to take the service. Obviously, since you're a BBA student, you have some other features and some other useful things which you can serve for people and take charge of it. Now, if you want to store your information, you have to pay for the service. Sometimes the service is free, sometimes the service is the paid service. So you have to pay and take that advantage. So what I'm going to say is, then in the world, so many data centers begin. For example, Google data center. Google made a data center and said for everyone, BBA student, teacher, everyone, that if you want to access my data center, if you want to store your information, you just create your Gmail account with me and upload whatever information you like, for example. Or Facebook says I'm a social media account, I'm a social media channel, website. So I'm going to give you everything free. You just need to make an account in my data center and upload your documents, your pictures, your memes, whatever you want. Okay. So Google, Facebook, Amazon, so many data centers are available in the world. You can just search it online. Yeah, you're using, for example, Mega. You're using Twitter. They already have their data centers. Now, the thing is, still we are under explaining the concept of what is network and internetwork. Now, now this Google and Facebook and so many data centers are available, but if you say, when they have created, they were located in US, for example. Facebook were located, for example, in UK. But the thing is that you're not living in US to use that data. Maybe if you're in the US, but the data center is in California and you're living in New York. So how you're going to access the data center and how you're going to store your information? This is another question, okay? The first question was solved, okay. I don't have that much capacity to store my information in my mind, so I'm using the Google data center in order to store my data, or Facebook data center. But now the question is that I'm living in India. I'm not living in US, I'm not living in UK in order to access that data center. Then how can I access that data center in order to store my information? This is the really big question for me. Here it comes your first doubt clear, that in every country in the world, let's say, let me just maximize the page. Okay. Yeah, guys. Suppose this is our world, okay? It's a ellipse type of shape. Yeah, surely. This is our world. In our world, we have so many countries available. For example, this is US continent. We have Asia, we have Australia, we have Africa, and we have Europe. So many countries are available. Inside this inside this continents, there are really big companies, which we are calling them as Tier One ISP. ISP stands for what? ISP stands for Internet Service Provider. I will explain what is Internet Service Provider. So inside this world, we have so many countries, and most of developed countries have built their Tier 1 ISP. For example, in Europe we have Tier 1 ISP, in Asia we have Tier 1 ISP, and Africa we have Tier 1 ISP. If you want to check which countries have Tier 1 ISP, you just go to Google. I have already searched some of the countries. Yeah, this information is from Wikipedia, and it gives all the name of Tier 1 ISPs located in the world. For example, AT&T in United States, and CenturyLink in the United States. We have, for example, Liberty Global in United Kingdom. We have Tata Communication in India. We have you may have doubts that okay, but we have some other ISPs in our hometown, like for example Vodafone, and like we have Geo, we have these companies. I will explain what are those companies for you. So we have not that much higher number of Tier 1 ISPs. That's a really less number. See, if you count it, it will not be more than 14 ISPs. So what the ISPs did, for example, in US there's an ISP, and in Europe, what this ISPs has done, they made the cable connection. They made the cable connection. They made cable connection between so many other ISPs with Europe. For example, from Europe to Asia, and from Asia, for example, from Asia to Africa, from Africa to, it's a really full mesh and with high redundancy. Full mesh with high redundancy means that every continent is connected with every other continent, and redundancy means there is not a single link actually. For example, Asia and Europe is not connected with a single link. It's actually connected with 2, 3, 4, 11. I cannot count it how many links. I will show you the picture. I will show you the picture. Here is a picture, okay? Here's a picture of tier one network of the world. Here is America, the US, sorry, United States. Here's Asia. We have Australia. We have Europe. See, so many cables are connected from Asia to Europe, from Europe to from US to Europe, and from Europe to Asia, Australia. So many. All the countries are covered. But if you realize, these cables are mostly underwater. They're under seas. You can just check it online by searching that fiber cables under sea. Yeah, fiber cables under sea. You just see these are actually the tier 1 cables of the world, that they're coming under sea because the safety is really good there, and they're high redundancy. They're not a single link. There are multiple links with really high speed. So what they are doing is they're connecting these cables under sea, or connecting the US with Europe, and Europe with Asia, and Asia and Africa, and every other country. So you're not going to wonder that, oh my God, I'm living in Australia, but I don't know how to access my data center, which is located in US. Google is there. So now this problem has been solved with the help of who? With the help of Internet Service Provider. Internet Service Provider has made the connection, the tier 1 connection between all the countries. So they made only now they made for example, in India we have Tata. So Tata is here in India, for example, let's say, and Tata is connected with all other ISPs in the world. For example, AT&T in US, and so many other ISPs. So I'm not going to explain only because I think your concept is now clear. But what Tata is helping, that Tata is helping for all the Indian people in order to access their data centers located outside the India. Now, this is an example. This is an example of internet. This is the big network. What is internet? Internet is nothing but exchanging information under consideration of a protocol. This is an internet. The internet is nothing but just only, we can call it inter-network, because so many networks are, see, Tata is here, US is, AT&T is here, in UK we have other companies. So there are so many networks, they have created their own network and we are just connecting each other. So inter means two strange networks are coming or connecting with each other under a protocol. So this is the big internet. Now, this tier 1 ISP currently are holding really big responsibility with high redundancy of so many data centers. They're connecting the data centers for us when you're living in UK, in India, and you want to access Google. So the Tata will reach you through its link to US, connected to US. So you will just directly get the information. How you're getting the information? With the help of protocols. We will explain in the really future lectures that we have. We have HTTP protocols which we can access. We have FTP protocols which we can download our data, and we have some other protocols which we can upload our data in the US data center and Google data center, Facebook data center, and we can download them back. But let's say now let's minimize the world. Now you're not in the world. Now you're living in India, and India is obviously part of your world. Okay, so in India there are so many cities, or there's so many states. So you're living, for example, in Delhi. Let's say the Tata communication, the Tata links connected to India, the tier 1 link connected to India, that their exact endpoints might be, I think, I'm not sure, you can search it in Google, but I think there's one endpoint of Tata here located in this area, I think, if I'm not wrong. In this area, I think in Mumbai area, let's say, you can just check it online. But I think in Mumbai there's the endpoint of Tata which reaches India to other part of the world. Okay, but right now you're living in Delhi and you're not and you're living in your home and you don't know how to reach this cable in order to access Google data center. Now it comes the help of other company who is tier 2 sponsors. Tier 2. I'm really sorry. Tier 2 ISPs. Tier 2 internet service providers. What the job of this tier 2 is that they are going to connect every state in India. For example, so many states exist. You can just check your country, whatever your country is. For example, you are living in UK, and you just check the tier 2 companies located in your UK. So many tier 2 sponsors, tier 2 ISPs exist in every part of our country. So in this case, this tier 2 companies, for example, I have listed some of the tier 2 sponsors in India. For example, British Telecom, Vodafone, EasyNet, and so many others are also exist. So you can just search in Google tier 2 ISPs in my country, your country name, whatever it is. So what they are doing, they are again making a full mesh topology between each state. I'm sorry. So they are again making a full mesh topology between each state. So I don't need to draw all this stuff because now you're really familiar with it. So tier 2, the tier 2 have their own separate link with Tata. For example, there are so many tier 2, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, till Z, and there is only one single Tata who is our tier 1. So as per the hierarchy, this tier 2 sponsors, ISPs will take your data from your Delhi, living in Delhi, for example, in Gurgaon, and it's taking your data, the tier 2. Actually, tier 3 is there. Actually, I will explain that another one. So the tier 3 will give the data to tier 2, and tier 2 will give to Tata, and this is the responsibility of Tata to fetch or send the data to Google data center or Facebook data center. So now, since the country is large, so it depends on the country to countries. For example, some countries really big country and they cannot, the tier 2 cannot provide internet facility for all the people of all the citizens of his country. So what they are doing is they are going for another tier, which is the latest or the last responsible person. That is tier 3. Tier 3 is really covering a small area, for example, only Delhi, and they're just having their connectivity through wire or wireless. It doesn't matter. on that area. Now in here we had our in this area we had our wire connection fiber cables, and here, and when the coverage area is really small, we can have our wireless areas. Wireless, we can connect our data in wireless, or we can connect we can cover the city through wire. So it depends on company to company. If you're living in India, and for example in my laptop I'm using some of the service, a service of a company who is taking his data, who is connected with the company station wirelessly. So it depends. Now the newest technology is mostly wireless, and some people are using wire. It depends on company to company. So now I think you're really clear. And if you want to know the tier 3 sponsors, tier 3 service providers of your country, you just go and check. For example, in India we have this many: Jio, Airtel, Vodafone, BSNL, and we have Hathway, we have Ccna, we have so many other companies. So you can just search it on Google. It will give you the information. So I hope the concept was really clear for you. So now it's really clear that how you're accessing internet, how internet works. So you're in your home, and there are so many protocols or exist behind that. So the tier 1 is the tier 1 will give the data. Your tier 1 you are actually connected with your tier 3, and tier 3 gave the data for tier 2 ISP, and the tier 2 will go to your tier 1. Depend on country, one country can have 1, 2, 3. It depends on, this really business part. I'm not going to explain that how many countries can have how many ISPs or internet service providers. It depends on the business part. So it will give to tier 1, and tier 1 is the one who is connecting the world together. So guys, this was the concept of internet, how the internet works. And overall, I should also repeat once again that an overall procedure of fetching and sending the data, there is the single agreement, which was protocol. So never forget that IP protocol, or the IP protocol is or internet protocol. The full form is internet protocol. This is the responsible person who is connecting the world together. Until this protocol is not established between two computing devices, so we cannot connect them. We cannot send or share our information. Now you may have asked that Google have some data center, for example, in US itself, and also it has some data centers in India. It has some own data centers. See, this guys, this is not making any changes in our definition. What was the scenario which I have explained? Having multiple servers is not related to this. For example, US can have its own data center in India itself. Google can have its own data center in Europe. That is not because that doesn't reflect the concept of internet. It's just because of high availability. What I'm saying is high availability, or faster access, I can say, or we can say localization. Localization is another term which we are using for making, for example, for making Google more, for example, making Google more localized as per our own cultures and customs. It's a really governmental, I can say, governmental term, which governments which are government policies. Actually, it's not a governmental term; it's a governmental policy, which mostly the governments are applying for all the companies. And saying to them that if you want to have your servers here, the data center is also called server. I just remind to say you guys, because they're serving you, obviously. So someone who is serving you, we can call them as server. So this is all for faster access, because if you want to fetch your data, before it was not like that. Actually, before it was not like that. Before, when you want to access Google, you should type www.google.com. I'm talking really in the past, but right now when you are accessing Google, if your country is somewhere like Google, that you access Google by .n, that means that Google is localized, or the faster access, or high availability. So if you have a good knowledge of forest and domains, subdomains, it will be covered. This knowledge which I'm explaining you, how the servers can be located, whether the server can be located in US or Europe or Asia, This is not related to the network actually. This is related to the system administrations people. So if you're a system administration student or you're studying Microsoft or Red Hat, so you will understand what is the concept of forest and what is the concept of domain, subdomain servers, redundant servers, multiple servers. These are related to the system administration. So what the concept is simple. And now if the Google is in Asia, the server, the duplicate or the backup servers in Asia, you just, if you're accessing from India, so obviously it's really better rather to fetch the data from US, you can just access it from India only, from Asia only. So this is just for only faster access or localization. This doesn't, again, if you want to access it from Asia, still you have to establish your internet protocol. So this protocol is really must. I hope the concept was really clear for you guys. If I missed something on, if you have some doubts, please, I'm just requesting you, mail me. If you cannot comment it below, I will definitely respond it, because as I told you before, this course is not for a business. This is just for serving my friends, because when I was a student I faced some of these doubts, and it was not really clear for me how to solve these doubts for myself. And guys, there's one concept of internet and intranet. There's when someone is asking you what is internet and internet is intranet, there's not much difference between them in terms of technical, but in terms of coverage area. Coverage area means that internet is a big network, or network of networks. I can say network of networks, or means network of small networks, I can say, because now small networks, or for example really small networks, as per comparison, when we can say world as an internet, we can say Asia as an intranet. I'm not saying that intranet is really big, but comparatively, intranet is the subdivision of internet. So when you're saying Asia as an internet, so India is an intranet. Or when you're saying as India as an internet, so Delhi is an intranet. So they're just matter in terms of their coverage area. So intranet is a small area network, and internet is a really big network, and network of networks. And inside intranet we have LAN and we have WAN. I will just while explaining some other videos, I will go to the LAN and WAN. So because this video will go longer, I will explain it during the lectures, what is LAN and what is WAN, as they're really simples. But this was really big concept. Please share this video for all of those friends. If they don't want to still learn network, it doesn't matter, but they should have the knowledge of internet, how the internet is working. There's something really, there are some other things exist in behind. So the concept of protocols, how when you are accessing the US server, how you are accessing, you're hitting some port there, you're hitting HTTP port, you are accessing Google through your Chrome browser. So obviously there are some protocol which is giving you data. These are really some detailed concepts. So you will know all these concepts at the end of the Ccna lecture, or even higher studies. But overall, to say overall, it's just the internet is working as same as I explained you. So have a nice time, enjoy your day. Please share this video with your friends if they lack the knowledge of this concept. Bear with me for the next video. I will try to make a good and beneficial videos for you guys, in order to after finishing of the course you will be able to work in an organization that you like. Bye bye, have a nice time, enjoy your day.